came to Laurie-Ann, I had a huge task ahead of me. I had to write and deliver my TEDx talk. I am Trupti Karjani, artist and a creative coach. It was really hard for me to distill my story and give a TEDx talk around how art helped me cure my perfectionism permanently. That's how I arrived at Laurie-Ann's doorstep. So Laurie-Ann actually came highly recommended to me by my business coach and a few other business friends that I have. I have to say that their recommendation was absolutely right, because within the first meeting, she got me completely relaxed around my TEDx talk and got me to start writing my TEDx talk. She looked through my draft and gave me really important feedback points that helped me polish my TEDx talk. So this was important for me to have Laurie-Ann as a coach to work with, because it really helped me to have a soundboard to discuss my ideas and to get feedback. It's now on YouTube, and I really enjoyed the time that I worked with Laurie-Ann.
Are you overwhelming your clients without even realizing it? In a world of endless choices, less is more. But why? And how can this counterintuitive idea transform your coaching or consulting business, and especially getting you on more stages? Get ready to unlock the power of simplicity and learn how offering fewer options is your ticket to better success. Are you a coach, consultant, or service provider who's frustrated with the growth of your business? You're in the right place. I'm your host, Laurie-Ann, and you're listening to Be in Demand, where I talk about how to leverage speaking opportunities to grow your business, get positioned as the expert, and monetize your expertise. Let's get on to the show. Well, I hope that opening has intrigued you, because this is part one of a two-part series. I'm going to break up this fascinating conversation that I have spoken about. I teach my clients, I teach my students inside In Demand Signature Speech about less is more. So let me just tell you about this thing called the paradox of choice. And this is a concept that was introduced by a psychologist by the name of Barry Schwartz. And he suggested that the more options we have, the less satisfied we feel in our decisions. I mean, think about that. The more decisions, the more choices you have, it decreases the satisfaction rate. And this phenomenon occurs because having too many choices requires more brain power, more thinking about things. But it also leads to decision fatigue, and it also increases regret. Yes, that's right. So we're going to talk a little bit about the power of decision-making, the power of less, the power of three is what I love to call it. So that sort of gives you a hint as to how many choices I think you need to make, and how you can use this as a coach, a consultant, a small business owner, and to get you on more stages. So there was this restaurant that was in the hometown that I grew up in, and it was so well known. I mean, you would drive by there on a Friday night, and the parking lot was packed. As a matter of fact, the hotel that was next door, their parking lot would be packed also, because people needed places to park, and their parking lot literally wasn't big enough. And I went there once, and I never went back again. Why? Because their menu was like a novel. It was pages and pages and pages. You've got your Chinese options, your Mexican option, your all-American option, your sandwiches, your burgers. The list goes on. And you can only imagine what their dessert menu looked like. It was too many choices. And that was exactly why I did not like to go there. So whenever I had a date or friends that suggested, let's go to the yard, I'd be like, no, not interested. Not only were there too many choices, but I also deep down inside thought, how could they be that good at all of those things? Making all those dishes. Have you ever been to the Cheesecake Factory? Well, the Cheesecake Factory is very similar. They have a very overwhelming menu, and that leads to decision fatigue. There's so many different things to choose from that you end up falling to the I got this last time, I'll just get this. Because our brain says, there's too much for me to think about here. Let's just go back to the old and reliable. The last time I was actually in there, I went in there to get dessert with a friend of mine. And even like the number of cheesecakes that they make, that was overwhelming. And instead of trying something new, I'll just get that one. Peanut butter and chocolate. That's my favorite. If you've been hanging around me anytime, you probably know I love peanut butter and chocolate. Reese's peanut butter cups. That's one of my favorite candies. How many cable channels do you have? Think about Netflix. If you have a subscription to Netflix, there's an endless supply of movies, TV series, documentaries. It's like, you don't even know like what to watch. Like currently, me and my husband are actually rewatching the Suits series, all 9 seasons. And I said to him, what are we going to watch when we're done this season? When we're done this series? Are we going to go back to the beginning? We're going to go back to Breaking Bad. Again, we've seen both of these and we're just rewatching them instead of watching something new, taking a chance, starting to watch this new movie that might be good. And then you start watching it and it gets dull, it gets dry. And it's like, wow, like I'm going to have to go to bed pretty soon. I should have watched that other show that I knew I would enjoy. One of the reasons why Apple has been so successful is because of the simplicity in their offerings. They've got laptops. They've got iPads that are practically laptops these days. They had iPods. I don't think anybody has an iPod anymore. And phones. It's very simple. And then they got like a bunch of accessories that go with all of those items. Very sweet and simple. If you want a phone, great. Do you want the 13, 14, or 15? Or it's soon to be 16. You get to decide what model you want. Now, think about your competitors. Think about competition. Competition for Apple, competition for cable, competition for restaurants. Just think of the competition and what they're doing. They just think, well, let me appeal to everybody and have everything in the store, all these different offerings. Think about like when you go grocery shopping and you just want rice, or you just want to get some milk. Now, milk doesn't just come in whole milk. It comes in 1%, 2% from a cow, from oats, from almonds. I mean, like the choices goes on. And I swear the milk department is just getting bigger and bigger. So if you send somebody to the store to go get you some milk or pick up some rice, I mean, now there's all these decisions. It's like, which one do you actually want? Tell me that so that when I go to the store, I can get that very one. Again, whoever you're sending to the store, it decreases their decision fatigue, their decision anxiety. And then you get home and it's like, oh, shoot, I wish I had told you exactly which one to get. Because by telling somebody exactly which one to get beforehand, decreases decision fatigue, but it also decreases that regret, like, I wish I had told you. But thank you for doing that anyways. So let's just talk about the psychology behind choice. And this is what they have found in the research, is that the more choices you have, it actually increases the difficulty to make the decision. And too many choices also leads to regret. So there was a study that was done a number of years ago with ice cream. 2 ice cream stores practically side by side. One had 31 flavors and the other one had 3. You probably know which ice cream store I'm talking about with the 31. Of those 2 stores, which one do you think had more foot traffic and which one do you think sold more? Or maybe it was the same store. Surprise! The 31 had more foot traffic. More people went into the store and looked at all the choices. But the store that had 3 flavors had less foot traffic, but sold more. Now, maybe you've gone to an ice cream store and you're just like looking through all the flavors. There's a couple of ice cream places that I love to go to in the summer, and I get the same thing. The exact same thing. Why? Because I don't have to think about it. There's a restaurant that me and my dad will meet for lunch, and we get the same thing. I'm not interested in trying something new, although they don't have a huge menu like Cheesecake Factory or the Yard restaurant that I mentioned earlier. But still, there's still a lot of choices. Now think about all the decisions that you make throughout the day, because it's a real thing that they call decision fatigue. It's for real. So how can you decrease the number of decisions that you have to make throughout the day so that you have the brain power, the brain energy to actually make the decision on things that matter? A lot of people used to comment in the media about Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs wore the same thing, jeans and a black turtleneck. He never had to think about what he was going to wear each morning because he knew that there were other decisions that he needed to make. And what he had to wear every day was not an important decision for him. When I worked in a hospital, I wore scrubs and a t-shirt and a lab coat. That was it. That was like a uniform. When I was living overseas, when I went to a Catholic school, I had a uniform for school. I never had to think about what I was wearing to go to school because that choice was already decided for me. Now, ladies, think about the last time you went out to meet some friends on a Friday night. How long does it take for you to get ready? If you're anything like me, like I walk into my closet and I see all of these different options. There's skirts and pants and dresses and pantsuits. And which color do I really want to wear? Do I want to focus more on black or red or something bright? Look at all those different heels. It's exhausting. And then you walk in there and you walk out and you're like, oh my God, I have nothing to wear. And this is why they say that you wear 20% of your wardrobe 80% of the time. It's that 80-20 rule. Think about what you cook for dinner at home. You probably 80% of the time you are having pretty much the same thing. I am very much a protein and salad girl, and my husband just likes to be the carnivore, but that's an easy decision. It's just, what meat would I like to put with my salad tonight? So just to reiterate, having more choices doesn't increase your chances of success with clients, with speaking. The less you have, the better. Because then it's like, here are the choices that I'm offering you. Decide which one fits best. And also when you have these different choices, and I'm speaking more about your services right now instead of your speaking topics, when you have these three very distinct services, like there's clear boundaries instead of them overlapping too much and people not understanding, well, what's the difference between level 1 and level 2? They seem like they're practically the same thing. You won't get a lot of questions like that. So you can have very clear boundaries between your different levels for your offers. And we're going to talk more about that next week. And when it comes to speaking and getting booked for speaking events, the same rule applies. We don't want to overwhelm the meeting planner, the conference organizer, the coach that is bringing you in to speak to their mastermind or their paid community. You want 3 different choices. And those 3 different choices is exactly how I offer my speeches. It's like, here are the 3 different topics that I speak on. Here are the 3 different speech titles that I have available. And I always let people know, like, I'm not married to the title. I'll actually customize the title, but here are the 3 different topics, essentially, that I speak on. And it gives people a choice. So if you only had one, somebody is thinking, I don't really like that. It doesn't really match with our conference theme this year. And then if you only give them 2, it's like, well, if you don't like this, then you have to take that. And the human brain feels like, I have to settle for that? Human brain doesn't like that. So that's why 3 is a beautiful magic number. Nope, I don't want that. And then they're deciding between 2 others. Nope, I don't really want that. That one sounds perfect for this event. The human brain, the human that's deciding, the meeting planner, the conference orator, feels empowered. They feel like they had a choice in deciding. But then you start to go further beyond 3 options. And again, that's where that decision fatigue comes in. That paradox choice comes in, where too many choices leads to decision fatigue. It leads to regret. It increases the time that it's going to take in making a decision. So we don't want to do that to our clients or our meeting planners, anybody who's hiring us. We want it to be an easy choice for them. I hope you found this useful. And one of the things that I want you to do is I want you to go look at your offers and your services and your speech titles if you have speech titles. I want you to go look at them and make a list of them, because in part 2 of this, we are going to dive deeper into them. But I just want you to evaluate your products and services and choices that you are giving people. And the other thing I want you to notice this week, between now and when you listen to the part 2 episode, is I want you to notice how you make decisions. What happens when there's a lot of decisions? Like if you have cable TV and you watch cable at night, just notice what happens when you turn on the cable menu. Notice what happens when you hit Netflix and you're starting to search for something. Notice how you make decisions when you're at the grocery store. Notice how you make decisions when you're buying things online. What catches your attention? Just start to notice that, because one of the best laboratories that you have is yourself, how you react to things, how you buy things. Also, let's just notice that between now and when you listen to part 2. Until next time, I want you to be in demand